So, let's start. So, Isabelle, you're here with us today to talk about a lot of things. So I'm gonna let you introduce yourself and tell us how you ended up in Louisiana.
Okay. All right. So I am Isabelle Shirazi, and I came here to Louisiana 37 years ago.
Wow. Okay.
I heard an announcement on the radio. Actually, my twin sister did, and they were looking for French teachers to go to Louisiana, and we both went for the interview, and I am the one who got the job. She came a year after me.
Okay.
Yeah, so we were like on the same plane, about 64 teachers from Belgium going to Louisiana.
64, okay, wow.
64, and we had many more from Quebec and France at that time. Nowadays, they are hiring also teachers from Africa, from the Caribbean, so from most of the Francophone countries.
Wow.
Yes, and we arrived here in Baton Rouge, and well, first we had the interview in Belgium, then we had to have a training for a few weeks.
Oh, okay.
Like how to teach French as a second language.
Oh, yeah.
And also, they were talking to us about the discipline in the Louisiana schools, so it was pretty interesting. And when I arrived here, we arrived in the capital city, Baton Rouge, and it's only then that we found out where we were going to go. What part of Louisiana we were going to go.
Okay, so it was the big adventure.
Yeah, it was a surprise, yes.
Yeah.
And it was like during the training in Baton Rouge, I think it was about a week. And then they told me, okay, Isabelle and Geneviève, you will go to Lincoln Parish in Ruston. Okay. So I go try to find Geneviève, and we are still friends.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we were it was so great to be with her. We really had a good time. She's a wonderful lady. And it was the adventure.
Yeah.
It was starting in Louisiana.
Yeah. So how old were you when you first came there?
How old I was?
Oh, yeah.
I was 22.
So it was like big.
It was in Belgium. Many of the teachers could not find a job because we had too many teachers, and I was like a substitute here and there.
Okay.
So I didn't have like a job.
Oh, okay, yeah.
A sure job.
Yeah.
So it was a great opportunity. I was though coming for only 1 year.
Yeah, so that's what I heard.
And 37 years later, I'm still here.
You're still here. So what happened?
Yeah, because I met my husband.
Yeah. Love is strong.
And he is still my husband, so we are still together.
That's amazing.
And then we had 3 kids.
Okay, wow.
Yes. So when we arrived in Ruston, we had to find an apartment. It was a French lady who opened her doors to us for about 2 weeks, and we were able to find an apartment, a car, and then go to our schools. My first car, a Chevrolet Caprice.
Oh, wow! Oh, wow!
It was an old car.
Yeah, but it's a nice one.
Cheap.
Okay.
It was a used car, it was cheap, so we didn't have much money then.
Of course, yeah.
We had to do with what we had.
Exactly.
Yes, and then Geneviève, she was sent to a middle school, and I was sent to elementary school.
Okay.
Cypress Springs, and I loved it. I loved the school. It was so good. The principal was so good.
Wow.
Now, my English at that time was not really good. Genevieve's English was much better than mine, because I think she had a major in English.
Oh, okay.
And we both went to Louisiana Tech in the North Louisiana. So after school, we were going to Louisiana Tech. And I was taking an English class for foreigners. Wow. And actually, that's where I met my husband.
Wow. So, okay. So, like, you were teaching and you're also learning every day.
Yes.
Wow.
Every day after school, I went straight to Louisiana Tech.
That was a lot to take.
Yeah, it was, but you know, we were young and very excited,
yeah.
You know, adventurous. I think the first year was my best because everything was new.
Yeah.
And I really, really liked it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was teaching during the day. I had about 9 classes, I believe. The classes were about 30 minutes.
Oh,
each.
okay. Wow.
Yeah, and then we were at the university, and then Geneviève was taking another class. But at some point, I think the second semester, we took an English class together, and it was reading a novel, and it was not easy for me. But Geneviève really helped me.
Oh.
We were reading the book together, we were discussing it.
She was a strong support for you.
Very strong, for the language part. And at first, I say I did not really understand the people. It took me about 3 months to be comfortable.
Okay.
And I still had some people I could not understand, but overall it was 3 months.
Okay.
But I was writing things down when I was ready to speak to someone, like I wanted to ask something to my principal. I was preparing my sentences before.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
Yes. And I picked it up, you know, quickly. I think my strongest point was the writing.
Okay, the writing.
But I learned it at school. I took English when I was in Belgium, but then I did not practice it for 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, so you lose it. It's okay.
And we did not do much talking also in our classes. It was more like the writing.
Yeah.
So we did not really practice how to speak.
Oh, okay. So it was very challenging for you.
Yeah, but it was okay.
Yeah, wow. That's amazing.
And then my twin sister came a year after me.
So she joined you?
Here too.
Okay.
Yes. She's in North Louisiana. She stayed there. And her French program was cut because of the budget. And then she became an art teacher.
Okay, nice.
Yes.
Okay.
She had some knowledge about art and she studied art back in Belgium. And then when she arrived here, she took more classes at Louisiana Tech. So she was certified to teach art as well.
Oh, that's cool.
So, and she loves it. She's still teaching too.
Okay, that's amazing that she was able to stay and keep teaching. It's great.
Our mom was not really happy.
Yeah, I guess.
Her twins were gone.
Yeah, so far
And
away.
I think it's when I had my kids that I understood what we did to our mom.
Yeah, but you had to live your life, go on, and then experience things,
And then I came back.
You came back.
I came back to Louisiana after that year. Okay, it was more than a year then.
yeah, 37. Parlez-nous de votre travail avec les élèves. So how is it going exactly? And your work in Louisiana.
Okay. I was teaching elementary school when I was in Ruston, and then I had to go to another school, and it was a little bit of everything: elementary, middle school, and high school in a little town nearby. I became certified to teach here in Louisiana because I had to take classes for that. I had to be certified in the state. So I had my bachelor at Louisiana Tech.
Oh, okay.
To be able to teach French here in Louisiana. And then when my husband found a job here in Baton Rouge, so I moved to Baton Rouge. And I started to teach in a high school, and then a middle school, then another middle school. I am finally now at Baton Rouge Magnet High School. It's an excellent program. They have a great program in all subjects.
Oh.
So I wanted to end up in Baton Rouge High, and many years later, I finally arrived there.
Oh, that's cool! Wow. So
I really love it.
It's a high school.
It's a high school.
Okay.
Yes. And I teach many levels. So I'm teaching. Well, students have to take French 1 and 2, or Spanish 1 and 2, or any other language, but 2 years.
Wow.
In order to be accepted at the university. That's a standard here in Louisiana.
Oh, okay.
So the students will choose to take 2 years of the language, and then they can stop.
Okay.
But then they can also continue if they want to become fluent in it. And if they want to travel, they have their reasons. So I am teaching level 2. My colleague is teaching level 1 and 2. I have one class of French 2, and then I have French 3 and 4.
Wow.
And then I have the AP French language and culture that is nationwide. It's for college credit, and then they have to pass an exam at the end of the school year.
Wow.
So it's an advanced course.
Oh, okay.
And they are supposed to be bilingual when they complete that course.
Wow.
Yes. And after that, if they are still at the high school, then they can go to French 5 or French 6.
Okay.
Yes. So right now, French 5 and 6 they are going to be very small classes because many students start in level 1 or 2, then they only have 4 years. But I do have students who are starting in level 3 when they start the high school because they already took level 1 and 2 in middle school.
Yeah.
Or they also came from immersion schools. So those students are advanced and they can start right away in my French 3.
Oh, okay.
And then those students, I will have them in level 5 and 6.
Wow.
Those students who start French 3 with me early on.
Okay.
But I do have really great students.
Yeah.
They are interested in the language. Not all, but that's normal. But I do have, I think that I am able to keep my students for the next level, about 50% from each class from the previous year. So it's a pretty good number.
Oh, yeah. Wow, okay.
And then my students who are in level AP or French 5 and 6, they can speak fluently, they can understand the TV, the radio, what we listen to. Yeah. They read what we read.
That's amazing. Wow. That must be really hardworking because French is complicated.
Yeah, it's a lot of preparation. It's a lot of work.
Wow.
And I bring a lot of work at home because it's just so many preps.
Yeah.
And then, the grading and all that and all the extra activities that we do. Like French club and then convention and
you have to
cuisine in my classes too.
Cuisine? Really?
I want to do more, but like this semester I did not even do anything. So actually tomorrow is St. Nicholas Day, it's December 6th. I am from Belgium, so I will talk about that. And then we will do some crepes.
I wish I was a student. Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, so we will do that tomorrow.
Oh my God.
At least I will end the semester with one of my cooking activities. But I'll try to do that every semester, something like we did quiche and then croque monsieur. And
you're an amazing teacher. This is because you're bringing the food into the classes. It's really important. Like it's amazing.
Yeah, well, they like that.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's cool.
I try to do activities that will motivate them to continue.
Of course, yeah.
My class.
I wish I had English teachers like that.
Yeah, and for French it's not easy nowadays because Spanish really is
a big language.
It's stronger now, especially since the Hurricane Katrina. It seems like we have more Spanish families here.
Oh, okay.
Spanish speakers. And we have more students enrolled in Spanish than before.
Oh, okay.
So it's very hard for us to, preserve the language and the culture here, and we need to do everything we can to motivate them to continue.
Yeah. D'après vous, quelles sont les raisons pour lesquelles vos élèves étudient le français et si du coup certains d'eux parlent français à la maison ou avec leurs amis, etc., que pensent-ils de la France, toutes ces questions à propos de vos élèves.
So the reasons my students are taking or studying French, I actually did a little survey. Nice,
that's great.
Because I was not really sure, sometimes I know, but I wanted to have like a variety of answers. Okay, why do they study French instead of Spanish? Because, many students are taking Spanish. And then, so I'm just going to say what I report here.
Yeah.
It's cool. I like the culture. I like the language, and I want to continue it. I like the food, like the macarons and the crepes. I think French is beautiful and interesting. It's a useful language. Mm-hmm. And then some said it's more difficult and more interesting than Spanish, so I'm going to take it.
Oh, that's a nice reason.
And they said, okay, one of them said, I don't like Spanish. Mm-hmm. Or one of them said, because everybody wants to study Spanish, so I'm going to learn
be different.
Mm-hmm. Spanish, yeah, they want to be different. So, and someone said, well, other languages didn't interest me.
Okay.
Someone said, I want to communicate with my family, and I know her parents are from Togo in Africa.
Oh, okay.
I have also another student whose parents are from Ghana.
Okay.
And she wants to speak French with her family. Then I have some students who say my parents chose for me.
Oh, okay.
You know, we have many students who came from immersion, so they started really early when they were in kindergarten. Most of the time, of course, the parents chose for them, so they will continue
to preserve, I guess.
Language. Yeah, and then some of them say I wanted to connect with my family, like my dad's family or my mom's family. Or my family history. Oh. They know that they came, or their ancestors came from a French-speaking country, so they want to keep that from their heritage.
Wow.
Someone said I am Cajun and I like the culture. Another one says because of my heritage, my grandparents speak French. Some of them say my friends inspire me. Mm-hmm. They were speaking French, so I went to speak French.
Oh.
And many of them are from immersion, so they want to continue.
Okay.
So those are some of the reasons. I know that there are many more. Voilà.
Wow.
And then do they speak French outside the classroom? Well, actually they don't.
Yeah.
Not much. I have many who are practicing with their friends. Like they are learning French in class as well, so they will practice with their friends. Mm-hmm. Like I know for sure, like 2 boys. They are in 2 different classes, but they are in the same band classes. They play music together.
Nice.
And they always speak French to each other.
Wow, yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, and then many are just practicing with their grandparents or mom, dad, sister who is also taking French, or brother, cousins.
Wow.
I have a few students who have family in a French-speaking country, like one of them in Paris, another one in Ghana, Togo, some cousins like in France. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, so they want to have this link through the language.
Yeah. What do they think about France? They say that it's a country with a lot of heritage.
It is.
It's interesting, and then it's older than the United States. So there is more history. Mm-hmm. They like the architecture. So I have actually quite a few who said something about the architecture and then the art.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And then the fashion, the food.
Yeah.
And then someone said, because I like Paris.
Yeah.
I like the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah.
That's those symbols. France is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And then they also said that it's very different. Like in France, when we study the regions of France, and I always say that to my students as well, they know that there is it's very different from the city and then the rural area or villages.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
I always tell them, I talk a lot about France to my students because when I was a child, my father always wanted to see a part of France. That was a vacation destination.
Oh, nice.
We spent 2 weeks in a different area. So we learned a lot about France. Mm-hmm. So I can talk to my students about the country.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Someone said, well, I think that it's the most popular country, Francophone country. Mm-hmm. But she said, I will go visit the African country first before I go to France. Mm-hmm. Oh, and one of them says on my bucket list to go visit France.
Oh, wow. I hope they make it someday. Wow, okay, so they're all attracted to France for a lot of different reasons. It's very interesting.
It's mainly the beauty, the architecture, the art.
Yeah. And I think this is what, unfortunately, most of us French people forget because we're living in. But sometimes when we hear or see how to say that, the foreigner's point of view about France or the architecture, we're like, yeah, that's true. It's we have this. Shouldn't forget about it.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I'd love to meet your students one day. It would be really interesting to talk with them.
They were expelled. They were deported. The British soldiers came and burned the houses. They separated families, and they just wanted them out.
Oh.
Then they put them on boats, and then some of them, they were going along the east coast of America. Some states were taking some, but then, not all. Many died on the boat.
Oh.
Yes, and then some went to France, but then their ancestor has left for so many years. They didn't know anyone there in France, so they came back. And then they heard that many moved to Louisiana, so they came to Louisiana.
Okay.
But then we also have the Native Americans who were there. And then we have the Africans who came, because of the slavery.
Yes.
We have many Haitians who arrived here after their revolution, the late 18th century. And then we have the Spanish who came, then we have the English speakers. So French here was a mix of different languages, influenced by many other languages. When the Acadians in Canada, when they moved in the 17th century, they arrived, I think the first colony arrived in 1603 or 6. When they arrived in France, French was not normalized yet. It was not standardized yet. And then it's only after that they say, okay, well, this French, like around, I think, south of Paris or Paris, they said that will be the standardized French.
Oh.
And then we had the Académie Française, So we had the rules. But then that group of people who moved to Canada, they came with their regional languages.
Of course.
From different regions of France, so they had their own language as well. So they were already using those different regional languages in there, in North Canada. And then when they moved here, they brought that language, okay?
Yeah.
Here, and then it was mixed with other, or influenced by other languages.
So it's a lot of...
This is Louisiana French. In 1921, when it was forbidden to speak French here.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Because it was a law for about 40 years. It was forbidden to write or read. They were not learning French at school anymore. But it was first French. Louisiana was French. Everybody was speaking French.
Wow.
But then when it was not possible for them to learn it at school, then the language was passed through like orally and then, listening. And then in 1969, when QUOI was born, which is a great organization, they try to preserve the language here in Louisiana and the culture. They started to do things, okay, what can we do here? We need to preserve the language, we need to preserve whatever we have. So that's what they did, and they were really successful at that. So they started to have later on like festival, music festival. They said that through the music we can continue the language. But then some people were not really happy with the fact that they were trying to find teachers from abroad. They said, well, we are not going to preserve it, we are going to replace the language.
Yes.
So we had some controversies at that time.
Okay.
But then, like someone said, it was Amanda Lafleur, I remember her saying that in one of her documentary, said, but if we didn't had like a turmoil, I would say controversy, you would maybe never talk about French nor Cajun French here.
Exactly.
So it was good in a way.
Yeah.
But then they were really hiring a lot of teachers from, at that time, from France and Belgium and Quebec.
Wow, okay.
Like my year, it was 64. Now nowadays, it's not so many from one specific country. When I arrived here, actually, we were teaching French in elementary school in all public schools.
Wow.
Yeah, but then we had a budget cut, and that was the program that they cut. So now it was more like in middle school and then high school. And like my sister in North Louisiana, it was totally cut.
Wow.
So she had to go to another direction.
Yeah. So.
But I think that now when we open more and more immersion schools here.
Oh, that's great.
Yes, we do. We have many students going through immersion schools. So especially in the south, but now they start to open some in the north. I know that like in Ruston, they recently opened one.
Wow. So do you think like in the next years, Cajun and French, like in general, it's going to be preserved?
You know, it is because they did such a great effort to write things down and then through the music, etc. So when we see like the writing Cajun, it's actually the way we say things.
Okay.
Because I was looking at some writings, but it's actually the way we say, like when we say something fast. So this is how they wrote it down.
Oh, okay.
But not because maybe it wasn't like that before, but it's the way they try to preserve it. This is how we say it then, and this is how we will keep it alive. But it actually, this is something that we do anyway. All French speakers are doing that. You know, when we speak French.
Yeah.
But then they will put it in writing that way, the conversational way.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And then I noticed that they use QUOI at the beginning of the question.
Oh, quoi?
Yeah. We will use like de quoi, avec quoi, but they will use quoi at the beginning of the sentence, when we will use it more like at the end of the question, if you don't have a preposition with it.
Oh, yeah, I see. Okay.
I'll try to think of an example. Like, quoi tu fais?
Ah.
And we would say, qu'est-ce que tu fais? We say, quoi tu fais?
That's interesting.
Yes. And another difference, maybe I would say, and my students love that, is, we should start to learn it that way too. They don't use être for auxiliary, for the passé composé. You know, like we have many verbs in French where you use être. So they will say, j'ai sorti. Well, j'ai sorti if there is no direct object. If there is a direct object after, you'll say j'ai sorti. But je suis sorti, they will say j'ai sorti avec mon ami. J'ai allé.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. J'ai été. Oui. So my students, they like that. They say that I should teach that.
Yeah, okay. Actually, now that you mention it, I hear j'ai a lot more than je suis.
Yeah, they don't use je suis. But this is not wrong. Okay, this is how the language evolved here.
Yes, of course.
See, we think that's the problem, is that many people think, oh, it's wrong. No, it's not wrong. It's not wrong at all for them, because in France they had nothing normalized yet when those people left, you know, and this is how it evolved here.
Of course, yeah.
And we just have to accept that it's not wrong.
Exactly.
And that's why I'm trying to tell my students all the time. And I know for me, I cannot really teach Cajun. I will just give them some notion of Cajun. And I love to talk about the culture, because I think it's really interesting. And because it is our heritage, I have to talk about that in my classes.
Yeah, yes, of course.
So we will always have a unit on Cajun French. And then we also, like when we have the State French Convention, we have it every year. Now we didn't have it the last few years here because of COVID, so we cannot do it, and we will not have it this year. But we go to, like one year we go to Lafayette, then we go to Baton Rouge, and we go to New Orleans.
Ooh.
And we just like going around like that. When we go to Lafayette, students will learn how to do the Cajun dancing. They will listen to Cajun music. We will go visit some artisans who are doing, things that they used to be then. It's really interesting. So they are really immersed in the
culture.
That's
great. Wow.
Yes.
It's so fascinating. I'd like to be there to see everything, and then that would be amazing. Like he said that, so you had 3 kids, and are they bilingual?
Yes.
Yes, they are.
They speak both.
Yeah.
So this is how she uses. She said in her profession she has sometimes Haitians, and they don't speak English, and then they will try to communicate in French, but then they speak more like a Creole Haitian language. So sometimes it's not easy, but I think that they like the fact that they are talking to a doctor who speaks French.
Yeah, of course.
And they feel more comfortable.
Yeah.
And then for my daughter also, she was in my class. Actually, all 3 of my kids, they were in my class. I love to have them in my class. But then it opens door. It's great to say that I am bilingual.
Of course.
I have my older son. Actually, I was asking him yesterday. Say, hey, can you tell me how does it help you in your career, and in your life? And actually, this is also great for my students. I'm going to share that with my students as well. What they say, I never really asked them that question. So Simon says that it opens conversation. With his team, he works for Toyota in Michigan.
Okay.
Branch of Toyota in Belgium.
Okay.
Yeah, so when he is speaking with the Belgian people, he said the conversation are usually in English because they have the Flemish, they have the Walloons, so it's better to speak English in the office because not everybody is bilingual there. So he said, so we will speak English. But then when they know that I speak French, that I'm fluent, then they feel like, oh, okay, so yeah, it's more like a tangible conversation. Yeah, and then he said that knowing the culture, it's an instant connection. With the team, it's more like a cordial.
Yeah.
He said that when he went on vacation, like in Italy, French was more useful than English.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow.
That's what he said. He said also when you try to get a job, knowing another language, it's good. It's good on the summary. He said that it's an advantage. It opens the door because it's something different. And also because the people say, okay, well, learning a language fluently is not something easy. So you did it, so it's an advantage.
Of course.
And recently he had an interview for promotion. And during the interview, he was telling them, well, I speak fluently French. And the reaction was, oh, wow.
Oh, it's a plus.
I didn't know that. That's good.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
And he also said the connection with the family. He's able to connect with our family in Belgium. All my family is there. He gets along really well with everybody, but because he knows the language.
Yes.
He can speak with his cousins, with his grandmother, and it's great. And all 3 of my kids, they really like the fact that they can connect with the family in Belgium.
Yeah.
He said actually he could use his French at work. Because one time he received an email, like it was a mass email. They were asking, okay, if you speak French or if you have some knowledge in French, we need your help. And it was for the computer system in French. When they have like in the car, they have a type of voice comment.
Yeah.
Okay, so they will have that for the cars that will be sent in Europe. so he could give the feedback. They ask his help for the messages, you know, that you have on your screen sometimes.
Yes.
Like the oil is too low, or, you know, you need water or something like that. So they wanted to check with him to see, is that a message, is that a good message? You know, does it make sense for you?
Wow. So it really is a big plus to know French.
And then he was able to travel to Belgium, like he studied a year in Belgium.
Nice.
After his high school, he spent a year there.
Okay.
And he said that he would not be able to do it without knowing so much French.
Yeah.
And then he has a lot of friends, like now he made some friends there and he's still in contact with them.
Oh, that's great.
And then it's the same for my other son who shared his thoughts about that. He said usually, you know, when you work, he was working in a hospital, sometimes he will meet people who speak French and you have a connection right away with those people.
Oh, yeah.
And he said that it influenced him as well because he knows another culture. He thinks that it's being immersed in another culture, it will bring him some more knowledge that the other people will not have.
Of course, yeah.
And also he said that it helps him during his studies because many English words, they have their roots in French, so he couldn't make the connection.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Making friends, yeah, like it opens conversation. He said the same thing. Roxane was able to come to France for a year because she knew French as well.
Okay.
She studied, well, she didn't study. She taught English for about a year.
Okay.
She went to Bourg-en-Bresse.
Oh.
Near Lyon. Yes. She really loved her experience.
Oh, that's amazing. That was great.
So she was able to live the culture for a year before starting medical school.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
So thanks to that, to the fact that you taught them how to speak French, they got a lot of experiences. Thanks to that, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's not always easy to keep up with the language like this. Because my husband speaks English, so when we were all together, it would be English. But then when I was talking to my kids, it would be in French.
Okay.
And I knew that I had to be consistent.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. Being consistent is what they will. That's what will make them speaking it and understanding it.
Yeah.
And even now, you know, when we are all together, we speak French.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, and then sometimes, you know, when they start to speak English, I say, all right, well, you know, you can only practice with me, so why don't you switch in French?
Yeah. Does your husband speak a little French?
Yeah, he does.
Oh, nice.
He
Okay.
He lived in Italy for about 6 months, so French was a little bit easier, maybe. But then he understands a lot. But when we are together, we always speak English.
Oh, okay.
But when he goes to Belgium, when he visits with my family, he will try his best and he will go, you know, through. He will understand.
That's great. Sometimes do you miss Belgium?
Yes,
somehow?
certainly. Yeah, I do. I miss my family. You know, my entire family is there. So.
Okay.
But now I have my kids here. I have my husband. I have my house, my job. You know, here is home.
Yeah. Okay. You can go home here.
But Louisiana is my home. But going to Belgium every year will help me.
Of course.
I like to go, you know, for keeping the connection with the family. And then with the culture and, you know, going to the stores and everything. I just love it.
And what about the food?
Here in Louisiana.
And then do you miss Belgian food somehow, or are you completely adapted to? I mean, 37 years maybe. I guess.
Well, I like to cook, so I will cook my dishes from Belgium.
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
But I like to taste many other cultures' dishes.
Nice.
So I will cook like the Louisiana food, like gumbo and jambalaya.
Jambalaya is so good. It tasted on
rice and beans.
a thing. Oh, that's great.
And then I like to cook Indian food.
Wow.
Lately.
Wow.
I just like it.
That's amazing. Wow.
It's one of my students who inspired me.
Oh,
She
great.
was telling me about the Indian food, and I just love the spices, and I started to cook.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, I like to cook. I don't like to go eat out too much because I always think that I cook bad.
Oh, that's great. I wish someday I could say that.
We are still using some sayings, you know, like in English, but they are saying words in Cajun French or Louisiana French. You know, they will still use like the word beignet,
Ah oui, beignet.
bon ami, or envie. Like I have an envie for something. I have a crave for something.
Yeah.
Sauce piquante.
Oh,
and then they say Mardi Gras. I was wondering, do we say Mardi Gras in France or we say Carnaval?
Mardi Gras. Mais ils disent, enfin, par exemple, quand ça passe aux infos, ils vont dire, oh bah, ça va être Mardi Gras, il va y avoir des carnavals. Ils utilisent les deux. Mais par exemple, sur le calendrier, c'est marqué Mardi Gras.
They have a Mardi Gras that is really special from Louisiana.
Yeah, I'd love to be there too.
De courir de Mardi Gras. Have you heard about it?
Courir de Mardi Gras?
No, it's more in the like Ville Platte area, Mamou area, more in the like the Cajun country, like they call it here.
Oh.
Le courir de Mardi Gras is really typical from the area.
Okay.
So they dress, they have a costume that they make themselves.
Wow.
You need to look some videos of the courir
Actually,
de Mardi Gras.
I did.
They are chasing a chicken, then you will go and ask
That's
ingredients in different houses to put in the gumbo.
Yeah.
For everybody to share.
Wow.
You know, this is like a big deal.
Yeah. Because I saw some videos. It's a big thing, like music everywhere and people very colorful, very like dynamic.
Yeah, we have a lot of parades for Mardi Gras. But it's usually limited to the south of Louisiana.
Oh,
not so much the north. Like my sister who lives in North Louisiana, she doesn't have time off for that.
Oh, really?
When here in South we have usually the Monday and the Tuesday off.
Okay, as like public holiday?
Right, yeah.
Okay, wow.
Well, I don't know if it is a public holiday, actually.
But yeah.
But schools are out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah, so it's a big event.
Yeah, because you have more Catholics here in the south than in the north. That's the reason.
Oh, okay. Amazing! Well, I don't have any more questions, but it was amazing. Thank you so much for everything. Peut-être si les internautes ont d'autres questions, seriez-vous d'accord pour une partie 2 dans un futur?
Pourquoi pas?
S'ils ont quelques questions. Ah bah, en tout cas, merci beaucoup. Je vais dire